Now,
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome once again to Vassar Temple's live stream service. Our stream team tonight is Gail D'Alessio and Melissa Wall, and behind the technology is Brett Colbert, and we thank them all. That was the music of Joe Bertolozzi, which we will hear again in a little bit. Just as a reminder, please feel free to greet one another on the chat. And about 10 minutes into the service, we will close that down. But if you have any simchas to share for later, please do put them in the chat, and Brett will pass them on to me. And just as a reminder, this Shabbat is sort of a Shabbat candle lighting across Dutchess County. So if you are going to be lighting candles with us and you would like to take a photo of whoever's lighting candles, and then it was listed in the newsletter where to send it in from Kim Ritz from PJ Library, who is coordinating this, and she's going to create some posting on social networking. So it's a virtual coming together, even if we are not all together in person. So with that, we will turn to the lighting of Shabbat candles that Gail will lead us in with the reading on page 121, and then the lighting. If you're using the flip book, remember it's 18 pages ahead with the page at the very bottom of the screen. So 139 or 121 in the book.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Gail. And we continue on page 142 or 160 in the flip book with the traditional song of welcoming the Sabbath angels who accompany us on Shabbat, page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Hayom, Mi-Melech Malachei Hamakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boakem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malachei Hamakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barhuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malachei Hamakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeichem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech Malachei Hamakim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
If we take a deep breath, we can feel the extra presence that is with us as we welcome Shabbat, day of rest, day of holiness, day, we pray, of peace. Continue back on 126 with this meditation for our prayer on this Shabbat. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Page 138 or 156 in the flip book for Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi lekra kala Pnei Shabbat nekavela Lecha Dodi lekra kala Pnei Shabbat nekavela Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shemo tiferet v'chitila Lecha Dodi lekra kala Pnei Shabbat nekavela Lecha Dodi lekra kala Pnei Shabbat nekavela Lekrat Shabbat lekuven elcha Ki mikor ha'bracha Merosh mikedem mesucha Soma aseh b'shabbat tila Lecha Dodi lekra kala Pnei Shabbat nekavela Lecha Dodi lekra kala Pnei Shabbat nekavela Hitoreri, hitoreri Ki la'orek kumi ori Uri, uri Shir daberi Kavod Adonai alai lifnei בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה וצולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
We turn now to page 144 or 162 in the flip book for Chatzi Kaddish as we transition from Kabbalat Shabbat to the main part of our worship.
Yikadal v'yikadash me'raba, ve'amad evorach yurteh ve'amlik malkuteh, ve'hayehon v'yomehon, u'frayede kol beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, u'vizman karev, v'meru, amen. Yehi Shnei Rabba Mevorach, Le'alam Le'amei Amaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishabach, v'yimad v'yuman v'yinaseh, v'yada v'ytaleh v'ytalav, Shnei Kudsham v'ruchu, Leila kol brichata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, damira me'alma, v'meru, amen. Baruch et Adonai, Hamevorach, Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach, Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, u'bivunah mishaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'misader et hakochavim b'mishmaratehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'vein layla, Adonai Tzavaot Shemo, El Chai B'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening, Baruch atah Adonai, HaMa'ariv Aravim. Bottom of 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Continue with the words of the V'ahavta, page 154, 172 in the flip book.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadavarim ha'eleh asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom halevavecha Veshinatan levanecha, v'dibarta ba'am, v'shivtecha bebetecha, u'lechtecha b'derech, u'shoftecha u'punecha, u'kshartam le'od ayadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot betecha u'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti echem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Adonai Elohechem emet. We move towards our song of redemption. We read first on page 159, recognizing that vision of redemption is a world that is whole, a world that is at peace. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
What's up? No. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, lo ratehilot osei feleh, lo ratehilot osei feleh. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, okei ayam lifnei Moshe Miriam, ze'lianu ve'amru, ze'lianu ve'amru. Adonai himlo le'olam va'ed. Adonai himlo le'olam va'ed.
V'ne'amar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov u'galo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Even professionals can get confused with the different yah-lai-lais. And we are so grateful for our volunteers who are helping us through this time with their musical singing. So we'll forgive them the wrong la-la-la.
Bless you, Rabbi. Amen.
Amen. I'm very grateful for their presence, as are you listening. And so we are grateful for friendship and love, which we pray for to help us through this time of darkness, through this crisis, through this time of pain in our nation and in our world. We pray, oh God, for your Sukkot Shalom, your shelter of peace and love and embrace to protect us and guide us through this time. Page 161.
Let there be love and understanding among storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkiveinu, leShalom, ve'hamidenu, shomreinu lechaim, ufros aleinu, sukkot shomecha, Hashkiveinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkiveinu, leShalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Baruch atah Adonai hapores sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. In this time where, for so many of us, our structures are gone and days run into days, Shabbat really can be a different kind of frame for us as we mark the passage of the week. We draw together as community in prayer. We welcome Shabbat with candles and symbols of wine, and hopefully we can find some different kind of rest. Vayinafash is rest, but nefesh is our souls, that our souls may be rejuvenated somehow on this day. We continue with V'shamru, page 162.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. B'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. U'bayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam.
We turn now to the tefillah, beginning with the meditation on page 164 or 182 in the flip book. We'll chant the first three blessings together, then invite you to continue on your own, the prayers in the book or the prayers of your hearts, and we'll join together again on 180.
Adonai sefatitita ufia giteilatecha. Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Ha'gibor Ha'norah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vesocher Haseavot Ve'imavot, Umevei Geulah Lebnei Bneihem, Le'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Oser U'Mashiach U'Magin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magin Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Elam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Roshia, Mori Hatah, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofeh Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamo Kabal Gevurot, Umidom Elach, Melech Menit, Umekayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Ve'emanata lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh, Shemcha kadosh, U'kadoshim v'kavayam yirbu la'selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. Osei shalom b'noma, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, V'Yakol Yisrael.
We turn now to our prayer for healing on page 371 or 389 in the flip book, taking, of course, into our prayers all of those who are ill, but most especially those who continue to struggle through the coronavirus, to those who need healing and strength and wholeness, mourning the loss of loved ones to this virus, and so too those who need strength for the anxiety and economic pain that this has brought. We take them with all who are ill, all who are in need of strength and healing into our prayers.
Avotenu, Mekor HaBracha, Limotenu, make a source of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We pause to think of those dear to us who are struggling, who are in need of prayers for healing, in need of wholeness and relief. Please feel free where you are to think of your dear ones, to mention their names aloud, as I will read silently the list of names mentioned for our community. May they be granted a refuah shlema, a healing of body, of soul, of mind, of heart, of spirit.
Misheberak imotenu, Mekor HaBracha, Leavotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Well, nobody wrote in Simchas, but according to our sacred calendar, I do see that we did have some celebrations this past week. That Tuesday was Jim Rabinowitz's birthday, followed 2 days before by his daughter Leah's birthday, along with Aaron Zaritsky. And today is Rachel Rowland's birthday, so we wish you all Mazal Tov and pray for many, many years of good health and happiness and growth. And we wish also Michelle and Craig Sin a very, very happy anniversary, as that is today. So it's good to have things to celebrate, even in these trying times. So Tuesday night, the night of Jim's birthday, was also a special anniversary of sorts. It was Israel's 72nd birthday. The 5th of Iyar is Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. Most years it is a day of raucous celebrations with the expected pomp and circumstances, but Israelis go out to the streets and dance and sing. In the evening, it's a big day for picnics and beach outings. It's one day in the year where they can really let go of so many stresses and conflicts that fill their daily lives, to express a sense of unity and common love for their country, even as there are so many disagreements about its actions and steps that its leadership has taken. It is an opportunity for Jews all over the world to step back and celebrate all that this young nation has accomplished amid so many, many challenges. For Israel has literally made the desert bloom and helped other nations to do so as well. Called the startup nation, Israel is a leader in innovation, from drip irrigation to cherry tomatoes, from solar power technology to, yes, ways that gets us to our destinations. Israel is a leader in high tech, raising more venture capital per capita than any other country in the world. It ranks 5th in the world in patents filed per capita. And Israel is among the first of the nations to send rescue teams to countries suffering any range of catastrophes, even when those efforts cannot be publicized for fear of the safety of those whom they are helping, as when they secreted out Syrian refugees during that conflict to be treated in Israeli hospitals. And now Israel's scientists and researchers are at the forefront of research to combat COVID-19, conducting more tests than any other country, developing technologies to strengthen immunities, even studying shrimp, by the way. They're developing a low-cost ventilator and working with U.S. companies to develop new drugs to try to treat COVID-19. And yes, even testing a cream that will provide better protection than gloves. Just keep an eye out for that one. I'm sure most of you, as I did, read the challenges, the reports about the technology, the apps they were using to slow the spread of the virus, which on the flip side raised very real issues about protecting people's privacy. That is just one of the myriad challenges that are faced in this most complicated of nations. But the pain and cost of its 72 years is never out of the Israeli mind, as is set in the very calendar for the celebration of this anniversary. For Yom Ha'atzmaut, Israel's Independence Day, follows but 8 days after Yom HaShoah, remembering the Holocaust and the slaughter that ultimately brought the world to the recognition of the need for a Jewish homeland, ultimately leading to the creation of the modern state of Israel. But Yom Ha'atzmaut is preceded most immediately, the day before, by Yom HaZikaron, a day of remembrance dedicated to remembering their fallen soldiers, as a whole nation mourns the overwhelming losses suffered in its relatively short history. For there is no family in Israel that is untouched by loss. Everyone knows someone who died or was permanently injured in many of the wars, in acts of terrorism, in the ongoing struggles of 53 years of occupation. On both of those Memorial Days, in addition to the various memorial services and ceremonies that take place, the entire nation pauses twice on each day. A siren blares in the evening as the Hebrew day begins, and then again at 11 o'clock in the morning. It blasts for 2 minutes, and everything, absolutely everything, comes to a halt. People stand at their desks in the offices. Buses stop, and the riders stand up. People stand outside their cars. I don't think I've ever experienced a national moment as powerful as when I lived through these moments in Israel. A country united in memory and in loss, never taking for granted the cost of their independence and the very real threats to their existence. But at the same time, we know that it is not a day of celebration for all living in that land. For the past 15 years, a unique memorial ceremony has taken place on Yom HaZikaron, the Day of Remembrance of Fallen Soldiers, by a group of people who can never truly stop and forget their struggles, bereaved families, Israeli and Palestinian. In 1995, a few Israeli families who had lost children in the fighting began to meet. And 3 years later, the first meeting between bereaved Palestinians from Gaza and Israeli families took place, with the goal of promoting dialogue towards tolerance, reconciliation, and peace, and ultimately an end to such bereavement. While the Second Intifada in 2000 ended the participation of families from Gaza, Palestinian families from the West Bank and East Jerusalem joined the group, which took the name Parent Circle Families Forum, and today has a membership of over 600 families, all of whom have lost an immediate family member to the ongoing conflict. The Parent Circle is committed to the process of reconciliation between nations as a prerequisite to achieving a sustainable peace, and strives to educate the public about their vision. The Circle reaches out to bereaved Israelis and Palestinians, and those who choose to participate in their ongoing discussions and activities begin the process of healing through reconciliation. 15 years ago, feeling that the official Yom HaZikaron memorials ignored the grief and pain of the Palestinians, the Parent Circle partnered with Combatants for Peace to sponsor a joint Israeli-Palestinian memorial ceremony. It has taken place annually with the following stated goal. When Palestinians and Israelis challenge the status quo and come together to acknowledge each other and remember, together, we start to build a new reality based on mutual respect, dignity, equality, freedom, and peace. In this way, we are taking responsibility, challenging our own sense of victimhood, and better still, turning a sense of helplessness into empowerment and hope. While the coronavirus precluded the in-person ceremony this year, which would have attracted some 10,000 people in Israel, the virtual ceremony held instead reached 200,000 viewers worldwide. It even included an opportunity to Zoom with bereaved families and hear their stories. I'm proud that among the many co-sponsors was, for the first time, the Union for Reform Judaism. While I didn't watch the ceremony live, I did watch it the next day and was very moved by the testimonies shared. Listen to the story of Haggai Yoel. In so many ways, Haggai is the portrait of the typical idealistic Israeli, raised on Kibbutz Ramat Rachel outside of Jerusalem, where his father was also born. Haggai is one of 6 children and is now married with children of his own. In his words, he was raised on pure and simple Zionist values, believing in the rightness of their ways, that Israel is the only democracy in the area, and that they are desirous of peace, but with no partner they had no other choice but to control Palestinian territories, implementing an enlightened occupation. His world changed on one day in the spring of 2002, during the heightened terrorist attacks of that Passover that many will recall. His older brother Eyal was called into reserves and was killed while serving in the West Bank, leading his troops on a mission. After Eyal's death, Haggai describes how he closed himself off from his emotions, unable to deal with his brother's death or find anything of meaning. 4 years later, he heard about this joint ceremony and attended for the first time. He would never have identified with it before. And the ceremony, hearing the stories of Palestinians and other Israelis, opened up his heart and changed his view. He spoke so poignantly about the impact that his children have had on them, how they are his teachers. His son Gal, at age 5, said he didn't want to go to army because in the army, people get killed like his uncle Eyal. But 5 years later, he said he wanted to be a combat commander. His youngest son at age 6 asked him, "Who wins a war at the end of the war, Abba?" A guy described how he struggled to find a fair answer and told him that wars don't end, they just evolve and put us in more danger. But then his son came home from school repeating what others said to him, that it's wrong to be a lefty, and that his father was putting the country in danger. Haggai has had the courage to continue to speak out as he said, "I refuse to keep paying the price of the ongoing conflict. I refuse to be silent because I oppose occupation. I refuse to be silent because I believe that peace is the right and fair solution, that peace is the only path that will enable everyone to live a better life. I know that each side must give up something, but if not, we will continue in this endless cycle. I look at my eldest son, now 13. I cannot imagine him in 5 years as a soldier, holding a gun. I pray that the actions of this group and its supporters will help to change the situation." There was also testimony from a Palestinian woman named Yusra from Al Arub refugee camp near Hebron. Back in 2000, her son Allah wanted to attend a Fatah rally. Her husband didn't want him to go, but he snuck out anyway and was at the rally and in clashes with the Israeli army. Allah came home safely and was with his family out on their porch having tea when suddenly they heard shouting in the streets and shot fired, and Allah was shot, and he ultimately died from his injuries. Soon after, soldiers came and arrested her husband, who spent a year in jail. Yusra spoke about how she was filled with such rage, how she wanted revenge, but members of the forum came to meet with her family. She said she couldn't imagine sitting with the Emmy, with those who'd murdered her son, but that eventually she started to go to the meetings and her attitude changed. She said, "Meeting with bereaved parents on the other side taught me that their pain is the same as mine, and instead of seeking revenge, I understood that it is better to work for peace rather than instigate violence." Then she directed her words to Israeli mothers watching. Bereavement is the same bereavement. The pain is the same pain. We need to educate our children against violence. Enough is enough. May we live in peace. Efforts such as this, though small and certainly going against the current tides, remind us that behind the numbers, behind each side, there are real people. People who are suffering the same pain and loss, who have the same desires to live in safety and security, to live under their vine and trig tree with none to make them afraid, as the ancient prophet wrote. Yet, they continue to be outnumbered by the voices of fear and hate, voices that are so stuck in old ways. Those are the voices that dominate society, that glorify martyrdom, and hold on to this endless cycle of violence and suffering. May these small voices of hope, drawn from the pain, be multiplied and rise up to light the path towards reconciliation and a peaceful end to the ongoing cycle of violence that has plagued this young nation for far too long. One that will yet fulfill the mandate of the Israeli Declaration of Independence, to foster the development of the country for the benefit of all its inhabitants. It will be based on freedom, justice, and peace, as envisioned by the prophets of Israel. It will ensure complete equality of social and political rights to all its inhabitants, irrespective of religion, race, or sex. I urge you to watch the video, which you can still see on the Parents Circle website. I close with a prayer for Israel, written by Anat Hoffman, Executive Director of the Israeli Religious Action Center of Reform Judaism and Chairwoman of Woman of the Wall. Eli, my God, in this sacred moment, give us hope for Israel and her future. Renew our wonder at the miracle of the Jewish state. In the name of the pioneers who made the deserts bloom, give us the tools to cultivate a diversity of Jewish expression in Israel. In the name of our fallen soldiers, give us courage to stand up to the words and ways of zealots, those in our own midst and those among our neighbors. In the name of Israeli inventors who have amazed the world with their innovations, help us apply the same ingenuity to finding a path to peace. In the name of all these women and men, grant us the strength to conquer doubt and despair in Israel, replacing doubt with action, replacing despair with hope, and let us say, Amen. I invite you to join with us now in a prayer for peace, a song for peace, in Hebrew and Aramaic, Od Yavo Shalom, page 657 or 675 in the flip book. May peace yet come to us and all the world.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
May that day yet come soon in our lives. Before we turn to Aleinu, we turn to our tradition of counting the Omer, the days leading up to Shavuot. You can find the blessing on page 570. Today is the 23rd day of the Omer. Hineni muchan u'mizuman l'kayem mitzvah taseh shel sfirat ha'omer. I'm ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom 23 yom shehem shalosh shvuot v'yamayim la'omer. Today is the 23rd day, which is 3 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. By the way, the reason they separate out weeks and days is because the Torah specifies you're supposed to count 7 weeks of 7 days. So making sure we know where we are in the week progression. And I would also add the counting as I've taken on this practice, so you're doing it with me. of counting our days of quarantine, let's pause for a moment to each of us to think of something, can be a little thing, something about which we would give gratitude for this day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ha'oneh be'et sarah. We praise you, O God, who answers in time of need. Hayom 42 yom lahesker. Today is the 42nd day of the quarantine, of the pause here in New York State. May we all get through this together and in health. We continue with Aleinu, page 586 or 604 in the flip book.
Aleinu shabeach ladon hakol, latei tegula leoseh breshit, shelo asanu kele haratzot, velo samanu kemishkachot adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishkachatim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamakim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad.
And on this Shabbat, in which we both celebrate Israel's independence and mourn those who have fallen for her sake, I turn to page 534, 52 in the flip book for this prayer before the Kaddish. Yizkor, we remember. Remember our people who could not escape past tyranny and hate. May their memory be more than a distant shadow, for their dreams left unfulfilled and lives taken too soon. We remember. Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice gave birth to the state of Israel. May their courage be our inspiration and our strength. For life cut short and vision unrealized, we remember. Remember the fallen of the Israeli Defense Forces. Remember all of the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness of their loss not obscure the light of peace. They were in love with the land and in love with life. For the agony, the tears, the mothers and the fathers, for the children who were, for the children yet to be, we remember. Second, I lost my list. And as we take into our prayers the hundreds who have continued to perish each day in our state and around our nation and around the world of the coronavirus, we pray that their memories will be a blessing. In our community, we remember still during the period of Shloshim, Paul Goldberg, Carol Nectow, Paula Rosner Schwartz, Mark Malsbury, John J. Maloney. And on the anniversaries of their passing, we remember Paul Plansky, Suzanne Hecht, Clara Levy Ribby, Shirley Ruth Carnes, Reuben Lewis, Bessie Goldman Lass, Anna Drieshpoon, Francis R. Finnerman, Abraham Tavis, Dr. Wolfgang U. Weigart, Jacob Ettinson, Faye Przansky-Kaufman, Edward Moffat, Irving D. Kraut, Shirley Kornhauser, Stanley Shapiro, Naomi Berkowitz, Judith Schneider, and other names that you may be holding in your hearts. We pray that indeed their memories will be an abiding blessing as we turn to Mourner's Kaddish, page 598 in the prayer book and 616 in the flip book. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei v'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agalah u'bizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei olayim. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudusha b'richu. Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom v'yomah. U'yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. May the source of peace bring comfort and healing and wholeness to each whose heart is bereaved here and everywhere. A few announcements that through Sisterhood, we are starting now a sponsorship of our beautiful silk flowers that help to adorn our bimah. And we thank Polly Lewis and Camille Wisniewski for sponsoring flowers this Shabbat in memory of father and grandfather Reuben Lewis. Torah study will be tomorrow at 9 a.m., followed by New Paths at 10:15. There's a link in the newsletter, and just please mark your calendars for what we hope will just be a fun evening, a good time to reconnect on a social level via Zoom to celebrate Lag BaOmer. I won't give you the whole background, but in this period of semi-mourning, which the counting is between Pesach and Shavuos, there is this one day where the mourning is broken for a lot of different reasons, but supposedly the yahrzeit of one of the great rabbis of 2,000 years ago, Shimon Bar Yochai, who was an early mystic, and so there were bonfires in his memory and Torah, so we're going to have a Torah trivia game. You're supposed to have picnics, so bring a picnic. We may have an actual campfire, so bring a good campfire or ghost story. And one of the other traditions, actually, in the very religious communities, is there because of semi-mourning, and we can all relate to this. One doesn't cut one's hair, so Lag BaOmer was a day that people would go and get haircuts. So we are still limited on Lag BaOmer from going out to do that. And some people actually in the their religious communities, they give their boy his first haircut when he's age 3 at that age. But if anybody can come up with a fun idea to do haircutting on Zoom, let me know. We'd love to include it in Lag BaOmer. And one other announcement I want to share while we're talking about Israel. I've had this information for a while, but didn't get a chance, or kept forgetting to mention it, was the results of the World Zionist Organization elections that took place. I guess they closed on Purim, which feels like a lifetimes ago. There were many, many more organizations